So yeah, handsome man.
Hello.
All right, you want to tell me about your wonderful therapy experience today?
Yeah. So what is this?
35 because it's daddy age plus 2.
Oh, are you with me right now?
Mhm.
Episode 35.
Yes.
So yeah, I went to therapy today for the first time
Yay.
since my big fallout with my dad. And yeah, we're definitely making some strides now that it's becoming apparent that my dad may have borderline personality disorder.
Woohoo!
I just love surrounding myself with people who have borderline personality disorder. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm hoping like all of our children have it because
Cool, yeah.
it's the greatest.
It really is. It just makes life really glowing and fun and easy.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of started telling my therapist about everything that's happened over the month. Basically, it finally dawned on her. Like I saw it happen on her face, and then I kept talking because I still wasn't done yet. And at some point, she's like, "So I've just had a revelation that's possibly important." And she's like, "It seems like maybe your dad's got borderline personality disorder." And I was like, "Oh," because I don't really know what the signs are in parents either.
Yeah, I don't either.
And they do the normal things where like they want to be in control. They will triangulate if they think that
Yes.
it will help.
And I was pretty convinced, or the only thing I thought of for your dad was narcissistic. I hadn't thought your dad had borderline.
Which is adjacent, so it makes sense.
Yes, as I say, they are flip sides of the same coin. They're very similar.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear her reasoning on why it's borderline.
Well, all the issues of, what causes borderline are kind of sort of there. Like, what is it? Abandonment or rejection. I don't know. It's like, okay, well, yeah. I mean, he moved out of his parents' house when he was a teenager, moved in with, his granddad, and he really looked up to his granddad. His granddad committed suicide. And I mean, he was like 30 when his granddad committed suicide.
Why did he leave his parents' house?
He could not get along with his dad.
Okay, rejection.
I think there was a just severe disconnect there. I imagine my stepmom and I imagine that my grandma probably really like spoiled him and babied him, which kind of seems to be the case, hearing about his stories with his friends and stuff. It seems like my grandma kind of let him just get away with everything.
And that helps with borderline, honestly.
Yeah.
I was let to get away with just about everything when I was younger.
Yeah.
While at the same time being really severely punished. It's that confusion.
And I don't know when he started working, but I imagine he's always been a very lazy guy. And, my granddad, his dad was military, so I'm sure they didn't get along there,
Yeah.
The reasons for it are there. The underlying reasons for it all line up.
Yep.
But, she thinks a lot of the reasons why he calls me names, he maybe, these are her words, is that he feels like I've, apparently it's a competition between me and him.
Mm-hmm.
And he feels like I've done better than him. So that's why he's got to knock me down up under him. So that's why he calls me names, especially worthless and lazy.
Yes. Borderline and narcissistic, they really see themselves as in competition with you. And they live solely through your accomplishments or failures. I guess narcissistic parents really take pride, whereas borderlines get really jealous.
Yeah. It's of his own accord that he hadn't done anything. I mean, he could have done things.
Yes. And he knows that.
He's not a dumb guy. He's, he can be intelligent. He's talented musically, so.
And he knows that. And that's why he's jealous.
There's some opportunities that he's passed on that have just naturally gone to me instead. And a lot of that has to do with the career that I have now is because he's passed up on things that went to me. And yeah, he's never really shown pride in what I've done. I mean, like, he's a musician, like, he plays music. And one of the things that kind of bothered me about him telling me that he loves me as much as I love my daughter is that, like, I'm so excited to also play music with my daughter. Like, I want her to be involved in some sort of, like, musical process with me. You know, if she wants to be, I'm not going to force her to be, but I'm certainly going to try, give her that open, you know, make her feel welcome to do that, you know?
And do things with you.
Yes.
Share that with you.
Yes. And like, that's just never been a thing with us. We've played together, but not very often. And it's never been his idea.
Yeah. And that is okay. Examples are helping because narcissists, they push you to be the best you can ever be in anything. So they can be like, yeah, that's my fucking kid. Look at them like working themselves to death. See better than every other kid. And then if you fail, they take it really personally and they're like, oh, covered in shame now. But then borderlines, they take it really personally if you're better than them at anything. They don't really want you to succeed. They want you to fail so that they look better. And you truly want your daughter to succeed and be your partner and stuff. And that's not what your dad wants with you at all.
Right. Doesn't seem to be the case.
Yep. Okay. This is making much more sense now that they're like examples. I see it.
Yeah. And I really like laid them all out for her today.
Yeah. Your therapist is good.
I like her.
I do too. Like, really, that was a phenomenal catch. I'm glad you had such a good session.
Yeah. Things are starting to come together. She was surprised that this is kind of the first time I've kind of spoken ill of him, I guess. And I'm like, well, yeah. I was like, you know, our relationship is kind of reset back to normal. It feels like we've never, like, back to not getting along.
Uh-huh.
And I guess it's not bothering me because it feels normal for me to kind of like to just speak honestly about him. Like, I guess, and it's not that I was being dishonest about him before, but we were getting along. So I was, you know, speaking more positively about him.
And kind of trying to leave it alone.
And yeah, definitely. And now that like all that's gone away, you know, it's like, well, I don't care if I'm coming across as being mean about him even. I just don't. It just doesn't matter because I don't feel like I'm being mean. I you know, I could be nicer, I agree. But I mean, for me to just flat out call him lazy, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd rather just be blunt about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, she says this is kind of the first time that I've mentioned to her about just completely going no contact with him. And I mean, I kind of explained that, like, it's not a complete, like, no contact situation. It's just that I'm not going to seek contact from him. I don't feel like he really takes advantage of me kind of thing. Because, I mean, there's no way for him to really do that. So I don't know. There needs to be a decision as to whether or not I ever want to hang out with him, which right now is no. Like, I just really don't have any desire to hang out with him. I mean, why would I? What's there to hang out with? And
that's a good question.
And the other part of that would be, you know, whether or not I want my daughter to have a relationship with him. And I don't know. I just don't know.
That is the really difficult one, is your daughter's place in this. And my therapist and I fill him in on what's going on with you, especially as it relates to our house situation. I kind of just gave him the rundown. And he said, you know, you can always change your mind. Like, kind of what I was saying to my mom about, I'm not doing a single thing that is not reversible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can go no contact, you can go low contact, you can make whatever choice you want at whatever time you want. Like, if you don't want to talk to him right now, that's fine. It's not permanent and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So, and how your dad reacts to it is whatever, that's his fucking problem. But you're allowed to do what's comfortable for you and change that when it becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mentioned to her, I don't think this is the bottom of the relationship because when I move out, I foresee him blaming faults with this house on me, whether or not they were my fault at all. And she says it may be more of a situation, now that we think this is the case, that it may be more of a situation of like abandonment, that I'm abandoning him.
Yep.
more so, or, alongside more things that he can hold over my head. And she says it's just a control situation, that he feels like he needs to control it. And my stepmom made a similar statement about she is grown, like her kids are grown. Her relationship with them is no longer like child parent. I mean, it kind of is, but only, when really necessary. For the most part, they're adults, and she likes them act like adults, and she lets them be adults.
And she speaks to them like they're adults.
Yes. And she said that my dad has not done that. And that's not obvious to me, because I already never really have a whole lot of contact with him anyway. Outside of like when I do, it's very like, I don't know. It's more friendly than it is parent-child for me. It's interesting to hear her say that. And I'm sure that applies to my little brother more so than me.
Yes. But I agree on both counts, even for you. Even just to be really obvious about it, like parents don't treat their kids this way, he spoke to you as if you were a child, like parents treat shitty, spoiled, rotten, like worthless kids.
Yeah. So yeah, there was that.
Yeah. But no, he talks down to you. He thinks you can do whatever you want, i.e. quadruple the rent, just cause. It's a different kind of control than narcissism. It's that you are leaving him and that you need to be punished, but not because like, oh, you're disgracing his name or anything, but like, yeah, like not letting him control you is abandoning him, because that's what he thinks is love, is that he's caring for you and expecting, you to step up. And this is like a parenting experience, and he's in control.
Just to assert some dominance.
Yeah. And not even in a way that means like he thinks he's better than you. It's because he knows he's not better than you, and he wants you to think that you're lower than him so he can still tell you what to do. Yeah.
Well, he's in for a rude awakening there.
I know.
He probably already knows that. I would imagine so. I mean, given my track record, is that I think I've been relatively uncontrollable my entire life, but not in a bad way, in that like, I don't think I've ever really needed anyone to step in and control me.
No, you don't give him that chance. You don't ask for that help. And you don't let that help control you. And he's already lashed out at you, obviously, multiple times just over this one issue. And you haven't given him anything for it. You haven't given in or caved or anything. So he's probably going to keep going just because he like wants to get something. But
can you elaborate?
In the last text that y'all had, he's lashing out at you, emotionally saying, like, well, I'm going to quadruple the rent. No, you're shitty and spoiled and whatever. Have never gotten your life together. I'm just doing what a parent will do to teach you to get your shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Insulting you is a borderline lashing out. He is devaluing you because he's going like, oh, well, you're not, paying me enough. So whatever, you suck. Every time he doles out some like verbal insult, essentially that is him. That's his protest behavior. It's to tell you that you're bad, essentially, so you'll apologize. But he's not gaining any traction with you through that. His protest behavior is not serving him. As in, you're not caving to it. You're not saying, I'm sorry, Dad. Like, okay, yeah, you can come hang out with my kid. Like, sure, I'll stay in the house. Like, he's trying to call your bluff and guilt you into coming back emotionally, and you're not taking any of it at all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So his only tricks are to degrade you because he's terrified. But you're not taking any of it. So, like, that's all he knows how to do. But he's not getting anything out of it.
That makes me sad.
It is very, very sad. That's the only way he knows. And it's not working. So I guess like, he's probably going to do more, but I think that's what I'm saying is you've never like reached back out or been like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, I'm being fucking mean. I'm really sorry. Or like, you're just not emotional.
Yeah.
Because my dad would always get me. Exactly. Because my dad would always get me when I'm like, when he would insult me, I just fucking cry because Jesus Christ, it was so mean. But you're just like, you have more of a sense of self to where you're like, no, fuck you. Like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So you can take your shit, pack it up and walk away.
Yeah. Or at the very least, I have to stop and think about it. Like if someone I know well insults me, I have to stop and say, well, are they correct? I mean, they know me, so they may be correct. So, I mean, yeah.
you can think critically about it. You can step back and be like, okay, well, let's think about this. If
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right, then okay, I'm not perfect. And if you're not right, then fuck you. I don't have to take that.
Yeah.
You're able to step outside his emotional reasoning, and all he has is emotional reasoning.
Yeah. But in the midst of it, I'll make sure I jab back, though. I have no problems doing that.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. And that's just going to make him, more abandoned. And that's not your problem.
Yeah. And that's one thing that my therapist said is that, you've really got to watch I've really got to watch how I talk to him because of that. Having any sort of like pissing contest with him isn't going to work at all because he's going to completely reject any notion that he's wrong, pretty much. And of course, insults just aren't going to work anyway. I mean, I know that, but still, sometimes it's fun to throw them out there.
I know.
I'm certainly not going to tiptoe around having a relationship with him. That's not going to be the case. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm inclined to like just kind of once we get moved and once we get done and once this whole thing gets done with and let's see how far this goes, see how bad this gets before I really start trying to repair anything because I don't think it's over.
And he texted you last week after your therapist canceled saying like, can we at least meet up and talk or something?
Yeah. He asked if we could
and you said
chat.
No.
I said, well, not until I have another meeting with my therapist. Yeah. And and I was supposed to meet her tomorrow, I think is how it went, but she had to move me. So it'll have to be another week.
Yeah.
That was our last contact. He still thinks that I have a session on Wednesday of this week. And sometime after that, we'll chat.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know
if time to think.
Yeah. I may wait until he contacts me again. I may contact him. I don't know.
There may/will be some communication in the near future of some sort.
So I guess that is my position, is that I really need to wait and see where this goes with the move and with him doing something about this house, because I'm not going to help him do anything with this house. I'm just not to.
Nope.
I'm not going to, because I've asked him for help so many times and he's out, not just refused, but just completely shit all over me over it. I really don't feel like he deserves help, I guess is the way to put it, but that sounds shitty. It's not that sort of thing, but I guess maybe it is. I mean,
if you're going to bite the hand that feeds consistently for 4 years, you can expect it to stop feeding you.
Yeah. So,
you're an adult, your dad's an adult. Like, you're allowed to say no.
I suppose that's where I've landed with this. And I guess I suppose I'll tell him that. I mean, I don't know how far into the whole thing I really want to go. I suppose it's not. I don't think it works to tell someone with borderline that they have borderline, because I tried that and that didn't work one time. I think that makes the situation worse.
Who did you tell?
My ex-girlfriend, the one with extreme borderline.
You told her and she was like, no.
Oh, yeah. That was like, what? That was borderline times 10.
Yeah, as someone with multiple friends who pretty definitely have borderline, no one wants to listen ever.
Well, and that's the thing, apparently, that's one of the major things about people with borderline is they accept no criticism. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of explained to me, like, they don't accept criticism because they really don't have this sense of self.
They literally don't. Because
of all of the abandonment issues and stuff. Which is weird.
I don't know that I've explained that to you, because I've mentioned it before, definitely. That you literally just lack a sense of self. But in ACA, I think it's the last trait, number 14 on our laundry list of traits we learned and obtained as while growing up as an ACA. And it's that we're para-alcoholics. We picked up the characteristics of the disease, even though we never took a drink, and we are reactors rather than actors. Our entire sense of being is based on reacting to what people around us do instead of acting ourselves. And we live, depending, in survival, especially emotional survival, and just that we didn't really have any sort of safety to figure out what we liked. It was all about pleasing the person who punished the fuck out of us. Yeah, there was no time to get to know yourself. It was always acting to please somebody or avoid something. Yeah, it was all reaction, never action.
We took the, I told her that you and I took that,
Yeah.
the Jonas Webb, childhood emotional
neglect.
CEN, quiz.
Yep.
And I was like, I scored really low on it. So I don't think
You got like a 2 or something.
even with her.
No, that's not true. You got like a 5.
Yeah. I went through it with her and I started getting down towards the end and I was like, I'm not really sure about this one. I'll give it a yes because I'm so low on yeses, basically. I was kind of joking around by that point. But I mean, yeah, it was the exact same one that you and I took.
I know. I don't remember how many it was. Let's see.
Yeah. It seems like it might have been 30. Not quite 30. Maybe between 20 and 30 though.
Okay. Well, you got under 10, definitely.
Oh yeah. I had 4 or 5. Even on her sheet, I had 4 or 5.
Your girl scored like 20.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I was like, we started going through it, and it was like, you feel out of place with friends or family. You know, you feel like not out of body, but
not connected to your body,
something like that. And as I was going through those, I was like, no. I was like, my girlfriend answered yes to every single one of these. It was kind of funny.
Almost. I scored like a 17 or a 20 or something.
Yeah. She knew I was just kind of kidding around.
Shut up. Small side note. I texted my therapist in class the other day. I'm like, we took it's called the global, I think. No, it's like the survey of contentedness or something like that. General contentedness survey, GCS or something. And it was called the contentedness questionnaire so that people wouldn't know that it was testing for depression. And to score, you have to like score it a weird way. And then if you scored over like a 30, you're depressed. And then if you score over like 70, you have, or over 50, you have suicidal ideation. Then if over 70, like you've recently tried to hurt yourself. I'm like, LOL, I got a 52. I'm like, therapist. I'm consistently surprised when I actually score within clinical ranges for depression and stuff. Like, I'm not making it up. Craziness. Who knew? Like, oh my God, it's real. Because also, yeah, borderlines have very little to no way to gauge whether what they're feeling is real. So they react really, really irrationally because they have no idea if they're even in the right at all. Like, they just know they're really fucking confused and hurt. And everyone tells them that they're being irrational. Like, all right, well, fuck it. They just kind of react. Like, we don't really know how we feel or how anybody else feels ever, or if it's rational or correct. And generally, we've been told we make a lot of shit up or that we lie a lot.
One of the questions on the childhood emotional neglect quiz was, I secretly feel like there's something wrong with me. And I was like, well, no. And I was like, well, not until very recently, until this whole thing started happening. And I was like, and I wonder if I have borderline personality. And she said, no. She said, she does not think so. She says that it is common, of course, for children of borderlines to exhibit some of those behaviors because you learn your behaviors from your parents, of course. So she says, anything I exhibit that may be relatively borderline is most likely just that. Because one of the major things about borderlines is that sense of self and the sense of insight, is that borderlines really do not have any insight. Like they don't stop to, and that's kind of because they have no sense of self. And I think that's what really sets you apart from certainly my dad, certainly my ex-girlfriend, but my dad too, is because that girl had zero insight. She, and I guess my dad doesn't either. I've kind of come to that conclusion very recently, independently of what she told me. She really just confirmed a lot of the things that I was thinking. And I was like, oh, I didn't know those were symptoms of a parent with borderline. Yeah. So switching gears, but another thing I talked about in therapy today, and this is probably very short, but this whole venture that you and I are taking with buying a house. I told her how proud I was of you, that you took
Oh.
the initiative on buying the house, and you set up the first couple of, I just kind of gave you the name of the realtor that I liked, and you set up the first couple of meetings, or the first, couple of houses that we looked at, and
Showing and stuff.
yeah. And once we did that, I kind of saw what was going on, and I kind of had a feel for it, and I was like, oh, okay, I can join this party too. And that's when I, stepped in and started. I guess that's when I felt inspired to step in and do something. So it
Aw.
feels like we're doing something as a team, and we're working together on something. And that's kind of common for a lot of our things, is that we really work together towards goals, which I've never really had that before. My ex-wife and I, she felt like my dad and I felt like my mom. And I felt like I was just dragging her around. My next, my last significant relationship, not including borderline lady, borderline girl, I felt more like my dad, and she was more like my mom. I think she was a lot like my mom, I think. I would say that.
How so?
I don't know. She kind of had control of everything. Not in a bad way. It's just that she always had an idea of what to do. Let's go do this. Here's a fun thing. And I mean, she always busted her ass and like all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, I guess I did too. But she and I would get like, so I guess, I don't know. She and I would get really, really high. And sometimes we'd just chill on the couch and watch TV. And while we were really high, that's when I would have this feeling of like this complete reflection of my parents. Because my parents would sit around, probably just because my parents would sit around and watch TV a lot. And it was something that they did together. It was about the only thing they did together, probably. Well, I mean, that's not fair.
Yeah, I know it.
But it's what I saw them do together a lot. So that's probably where that feeling came from more than anything. But I mean, she had like an attitude, she was kind of bitchy. She, for better or for worse. I guess just in closing, I enjoy our relationship. I mean, this is the most meaningful relationship I've had, certainly since my marriage, of course, but I think including that too. I think it's fair to say that at this point, if not, it's certainly headed in that direction, and it's going to be, which kind of means that it already is, I think, is what I'm saying.
I agree. I've never had a relationship like this ever, because we do actually have goals and we accomplish them, which is really, really new to me. It is kind of funny, not funny, but how kind of like it takes one of us to kind of kickstart something, and then we both hop on board really quickly. Because that's how I am with a lot of stuff. Like, you'll have to tell me to, come on, let's go do this around the house usually, because I don't like cleaning much. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go do it so we can, clean out our shit. And I really, really appreciate you kind of taking over the house stuff, because I know jack shit about after you look at the houses. I don't know how any of it works at all. And you're telling our realtor, like, well, we don't just want to buy it like just because. What is your opinion on this? We need recommendations. Let's find our inspector and our appraiser and whatever. And I'm just like, buy the house. Yes, we'll take it. Done.
That was kind of like me finding a house, I guess.
Exactly. I'm like, I like this one. Let's just get it, please. So I'm trying to hang back and let you actually like do the business thing, because I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you've done all the math and the comparisons, and you went and saw some houses when I was in class and couldn't go. And like, shit, like you're doing such a great job, and I appreciate it.
Thanks. You haven't even seen the house that we are like buying. So I would be scared if I were in your shoes. Maybe. I guess that's hard to say because of our relationship, but
I am not. First of all, you know what's really cool? I showed like everyone the pictures of the house, and whoever has it listed, that guy, he put up pictures of the house without anything in it, and like renovation. So it's got new pictures now.
Really?
After all the staged ones, it's got what the kitchen used to look like. It's got the living room and front room like without anything in it. It was really nice to see. It looks much bigger without all that stuff in it. Yeah, I found it out by accident showing my friend pictures the other day.
That's kind of wild. I mean, our realtor said this guy was, pretty good. So
yeah,
I've actually heard good things about him from other people too.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like a big deal. I've never done anything. I've never even lived with anybody else, like ever. And I've always wanted to, because #borderline, but I've never felt comfortable living with anybody before. And I'm like really excited. And this feels like a beginning and not like something I have to do to kind of check off a list.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much I remind you of your mom in good ways. Your therapist has said that, we've got oh my God, so long ago, we had the discussion about like the Madonna whore complex and how like, your mom was kind of the Madonna and then I don't know, your wandering eye, I guess, has been for a whore. And it's hard to consolidate those in one person. But your therapist was like, this girl, your girlfriend, she's all of these things all at once. She's sassy. She's smart. She's hardworking. She's very sexual. And maybe I'm like tooting my own horn, but I don't think I'm trying to. Just like when you're saying your mom was kind of always busting her ass. And like, let's go do this fun thing. Like, yeah, let's, do this. I like to think I kind of do that with you and your daughter.
Yeah, you certainly do that. I agree.
And you comment a lot that like I'm always fucking moving, like always, getting school and work and other work done.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It makes me happy that I can remind you of your mother in a way that is so important. I find that really important to our relationship and to like who I am as a person. Okay, go.
I guess I'm trying to think of the other ways that you remind me of my mom, and I don't know. I don't know if it's initially obvious. I'm sure that you do because you do feel very comfortable and very familiar. So I think that's in there. You're very like bubbly and sweet. Mom certainly wasn't those things. Mom was much more like blunt. But yeah.
I can be a bitch depending on the mood though.
Yeah, right. And I don't know if I've seen you in enough social situations yet really to see that. But
it heavily depends.
Right. But no, the hardworking part, and I mean, I love the fact that you're really sweet. I mean, I love that. So that's certainly not like,
I know.
Oh, you're not like my mom.
I know.
So
I'll take the house myself. Bye.
Right. Okay, so I want to now have a discussion with you. I have a question.
Oh man.
That's hopefully, I don't know. I like bringing things like this up during the podcast because I feel like it's less critical because this is such an open forum for discussion. I feel like this is a very easy place
and I'm geared toward neutral discussion and learning in this environment. Good idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you're about to ask. This is a secret.
Yeah. So you brought up a few days ago that you needed to ask your therapist, or you were getting your therapist to do like some special like permission things for school. What'd you call them?
Disability accommodations.
Accommodations. One of them was to have your assignments written clearly instead of just verbal, which, I mean, yeah, that's completely reasonable. I mean, you would hope that instructors would do that anyway. I mean,
oh, but they don't always.
Right.
Sometimes they'll just make an assignment and say, okay, turn it in. I'll be like, bitch, no, you need to make a rubric. Like, I have to know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
In a current class, I mean, that is not the norm.
So the other two things, though, so one of them is that you want food in class.
Yes.
And the other one is that you want to be able to leave class at any time without any sort of setbacks.
Yes. These are things I already do. I just don't want to get in trouble for them. And that's not to be like, yeah, let me just exploit some disability accommodations. Like, they're for disability reasons.
What's the disability?
Borderline. When I don't eat, I am way more likely to be like all over the place emotionally. And in the class that I'm in, oh my God, right now, the one that I've been bitching about to you all semester, that I'm counting the days of, it's really frustrating. And the whole class gets really mad at this guy. And we've spent entire classes, 2 class sessions now on like, it's not even debate. I don't even know what it is, but it's just like fighting with him basically. And it's really intense and I don't like it in there.
I thought it got better.
It did. And then it got abruptly worse last class.
I don't know. I guess I just wanted to say that the other two seem a little ridiculous.
That's fine. You're allowed to think so.
Okay. I mean, there's no way, like, you're gonna, okay. Whatever. I don't know. I can't really berate you about these things.
You're not allowed to berate me about anything, first of all.
Well,
You're allowed to you're allowed to bring up points, but you don't get to berate me because that's insulting.
I wasn't really actually berating you. It was just berating you.
Okay. I know you weren't, but no, we don't get to be mean to each other. So let's see. Through my internship a couple weeks ago, we looked at this website called AskJan, JAN.org. And it's the Job Accommodations Network. And I've considered putting in disability accommodations for multiple years at my school, but I didn't know what the fuck to ask for, because what do you do with psychiatric disabilities? Like, what do you even ask for besides medication? And there are accommodations in a workplace through Ask Jan, or like they have examples of what could help you if you have a personality disorder. And it was like flexible scheduling, emotional coaching, soundproof headphones, a private office space, or like a cubicle space that is to yourself. Because, bitch, I get so fucking frustrated at work when people won't leave me alone. Like, I can't work with people around.
That's just a shitty work environment.
No, not quite true. But hang on. Or like emotional regulation apps and stuff like that. Just other things like a wall calendar or whatever. And that was for other things. But I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense. One of the ones that they had up there was rest breaks. I'm like, I fucking need that. I've had to leave class, I don't even know how many times, because I'm having a panic attack. Like, and I had to walk up to the front and be like, can I please leave for like 5 minutes? Like, I'll be back, but I'm going to scream. Like, I have to go. And that was before I was medicated, I think. I think so. I don't remember when that was. It's things like that. And then in a class where everyone's getting fucking riled up and I'm having a hard time like controlling the heart palpitations I'm having, like taking a walk around the building for a couple minutes helps a lot. I just got to go outside and do some breathing exercises. Because if I'm pissed, I can't learn. Like, I'm going to sit there and just be mad at the teacher for 50 minutes and waste my class.
Are these accommodations just for his class?
No, I've had panic attacks in lots of classes. And the food one is because I'm much more likely to have a panic attack if I'm not eating food. It's not like I'm going to eat the whole time, but like I need permission to bring, and most people don't make it a problem, but I don't know about next semester. Like, I need to be able to bring food in because it really grounds me if I'm running to class from work, I'm probably late. I'm probably really stressed from having to deal with my supervisor. And like, if I can't eat, then I'm going to go 2.5 hours without food, which means I will have shakes. I'm more likely to like dissociate or have a panic attack. And I'm going to be more emotionally volatile. I can't focus. Like, my antidepressants make my blood pressure drop. I have to eat.
All right.
So it is emotional regulation stuff, because I will be a fucking bitch in class. Like, I will. I'm not nice to that teacher sometimes. The one that everyone is angry at. But no, I don't think I think I've told you before, like, yeah, dude, I'm really fucking hungry. Like, it's dinner time and things are late and that's fine, but I'm shaking. Like, I have to eat something.
Yeah, fair.
So it's not to be like, yeah, let me just bring in a whole bunch of food and be really disruptive. But I need permission to eat a snack in class if I can't move my hands.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't just leave class for 20 minutes and say like, okay, bye, I see you tomorrow. I'll take a lap around the bottom floor and come back and just do some breathing exercises, text my sponsor if needed. It's just for DBT reasons and borderline shit.
Yeah, that's all right. That's a lot more understandable.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Because these are things I already do.
I guess if you're having, especially, well, I don't know. To me, I can relate in the context that, okay, you're on medication that fucks with your blood pressure or your blood sugar.
Mm-hmm. Blood sugar. And I do have low blood pressure also. So I'm sure that doesn't help. But
yeah. I guess part of it.
These are things that.
Sorry.
It's okay. These are things that really stop me from being able to function in class.
Yeah.
And I'm responsible in that I don't just leave just to leave. I wouldn't exploit them to be like, yeah, I'll just take some time off of class. Whatever, I'll be late. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's like, it's to help me actually do things in class and not freak out.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you saying? Sorry.
Well, I guess like that too is kind of on the heels of like, hey, I'm like trying not to eat ice cream for the month. And then you were like, I need to eat food in class. And to me, I was kind of like, okay. I don't know.
I haven't eaten sweets. I'm having my one cheat per week, and it's going very well.
Yeah. I know. I get it. I guess I just maybe felt like maybe I just hadn't been critical of anyone in a while and I needed to get my fix.
Yeah, thank you. No, because I'll come home from work and I'm usually in a fucking rush, but I'll pack lunch and pack dinner, and I have to eat in class, or else when am I going to eat? Because I'm in class from 2:30 to 9. You know.
Yeah, and
I get off of work at 1. Yeah, and I get off work at 1 p.m., which means I'm already really fucking hungry, and then I'm stressed. I'm going to be late to class, and whatever.
Yeah,
it helps me calm down, and I have to have like my meals a day.
Yeah, I considered that. I really did. I thought that she's.
I don't think you're being a dick. It's okay.
Yeah, I knew that you were running around a bunch and that you were really busy, so I was like, well, maybe that's all it is.
Yeah, and if I feel time crunched, I don't function well. And food, like eating my lunch on time or eating lunch when and taking a minute, helps a lot.
Yeah, and
if I'm really stressed and it's stopping me from paying attention in class, like, bitch, go take a walk, take some deep breaths, you'll be fine.
I think I'm the opposite of that, where I think I operate better on a time crunch. Like if things are like really impending, if something needs to happen like right this second, like, and if I haven't eaten, I kind of go into like some sort of like adrenaline mode, and I focus much more clearly, or I say much more clearly. I definitely focus though, and really knock it out. And I feel like I do. I mean, I guess once I've done it, I feel accomplished. I don't know whether or not I've done it better or whatever, but I've definitely done it and I feel accomplished.
I do that in acute situations where I have like an assignment due in the next 3 hours or something. I do that too. But when I have to like drive myself, 20 minutes each way, especially getting from work to home to school when there are like 3 destinations ahead of me, dude, oh my God, I literally just realized or just learned last year in my senior year that it's possible to get from building to building on campus without sweating. Because I thought I was just like a really sweaty person, and I am, don't get me wrong. But I was freaking out about getting to class on time between classes. So I would just stress sweat and like hurry and be there at the same time I would have been, but like in a whole tizzy. And when I've got somewhere to be and I don't think there's enough time to get there, if I'm not talking myself down, I stress out really hard about it.
Yeah.
So I'll shake of my own accord. And then if I don't have food and it's dinner time, then I'm just going to be like mini panicking, sitting in class and getting nothing done. And then that'll turn into a real panic attack.
That's fair. So yeah, thanks for talking to me about that. I know that was weird.
You're welcome. I'm glad you asked. No, it's good to talk through them because I've wanted to request accommodations for like multiple years, but I didn't have a diagnosis. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to ask for, even when I did have a diagnosis. Like, it's a complicated subject. And that's the response it'll get a lot of times is like, well, why the fuck do you need that? Like, that's dumb. Like, you're just looking for special treatment. But an accommodation legally is something that doesn't change the actual thing getting done. Like, it's if I were asking for an extra day off of class, I couldn't get that because that'd be changing the number of hours I'm spending in the classroom and I wouldn't pass the course.
Right. Yeah, I realize
it's not changing the outcome.
Yeah.
It's changing like how you do it to get the same outcome. So if leaving class 2 minutes or 10 minutes, let's say at a time, every couple weeks helps me get stuff done more productively and better and helps me function with my cohort mates, then the same product is being achieved just with a slight alteration to make it like more feasible for me.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. But people don't understand psychiatric illness or psychiatric disabilities a lot. They don't see them as disabilities.
Us old school guys.
I know it. And it's harder for people to justify in their minds psychiatric accommodations. So it's good that you asked because, lots of people don't think about that.
All right.
Or think that it's just bullshit. But like, if you want to see me have a meltdown in class, go for it. It's not fun. Yeah, I used to have panic attacks in marching band all the time. like all the time.
Fun.
Yeah, that was in college, not really in high school, but sometimes you got to go. All right, what's next?
I don't know. That's all I had.
Okay,
That's about all.
peace out.
Peace out.